where did the name customer service come from?
Me and Max were working together on a customer service desk at a Canadian Tire, and we're just like, oh, well, those two words kind of sound like the same vibe as all the bands we like. Neither of us were like super stoked on the band name at the time, and like it was just kind of like a, yeah, like I guess this is it. This is it now.
I love that. I love that it started out from Canadian Tire. How Canadian? How Canadian?
You're listening to OurSpace with Matt Vettese.
Today on OurSpace, we're hanging out with one of Canada's most exciting up-and-coming emo bands, a customer service, Halifax-based group, and they've been making some serious waves lately. They've got a brand new EP called If You're Here, You Must Be Fine. It drops October 31st, which is just a couple days away from the time that we are recording this episode. By the time it comes out, it will already be out. So make sure to go and check that out. They're on the same label as Pup and Always and so many other bands that have put out music on Royal Mountain Records. It's a 5-track EP, and I'm really excited for you to hear it. Really excited to get into this conversation with customer service about it. But before we get into the conversation, just quickly remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, go and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts, remember to follow and then rate and review the show. So welcome now, customer service to OurSpace. How's it going?
Going good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this. Really exciting time for you guys. I'm really curious. I think that there's, you don't really talk to, or I don't really talk to that many bands from the eastern part of Canada, and me as a Canadian myself, wearing my Jays hat. How does being a Halifax band work into your identity as customer service?
In Halifax, with it being a lot smaller, it kind of makes everyone feel a lot closer. So there's a real good sense of like community here with all the other bands. And I think too, that element of like, people talk about it with like Seattle in the 90s. That element of like it being so small, it means that like there's not a lot to do other than go to shows. And like when we talk to our friends who play in bands in like Toronto and bigger cities, a lot of the times it'll be like smaller shows where here, like a bill with like 4 locals could be like, a 400 cap room sold out. So it's like the scene here is like really active and really busy, and everyone's looking out for each other, and it's just awesome.
It's really cool to hear, because I find that it really depends based off of the bands that I've talked to, like how small the area is. You can either have one really big concentrated scene that cares, like what you described with Halifax, or you can have a city where it's like, the scene's kind of non-existent because it's so small here and everybody's listening to Morgan Wallen instead.
Yeah.
So that's cool that Halifax has a really cool scene out there. How many bands would you say are typically sort of regulars with customer service throughout the Halifax scene?
There's honestly countless bands here, like so many. It feels like a lot of people are also in like 4 or 5 bands too. It's like that small scene mentality where it's like, to keep it alive, everyone's like, okay, well, I've got to be in another band and another band and another band. So there's just like all of us, except for Nick, are one banders, but like it feels like everyone else in the scene here has got like at least 2 or 3 projects going on. So the amount of bands that play is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about customer service and like how you guys actually began and started.
So
keep going.
During COVID, me and the guitar player Max, who aren't here right now, we started just playing with a couple of the other kids in our neighborhood, just as like something to do. None of us had really like picked up instruments before, and at that time we just kind of started getting into emo music. Like growing up, my perception of emo was like, My Chemical Romance and that kind of stuff, which never really clicked with me, and kind of still hasn't. But someone showed us 2 Beers In by Free Throw. And when I first heard that song, I was just like, oh, this is just indie or punk. Like I didn't even make the association with it being emo at first. And then after hearing that, kind of went down the rabbit hole and found Modern Baseball and Mom Jeans were like the next 2 big ones for us. And then it just kind of became like a obsession of like, okay, we don't know how to play our instruments, but we like need to learn how to make music like this. And that was like a multi-year process just through high school. And then pretty quickly after we, graduated, we started playing house shows. And that's when we met these guys. Nick is my cousin and moved back to Halifax from Toronto, like right as we needed a bassist. And then we put up a Facebook Marketplace ad and found Matt. So yeah. And then since then it's been smooth sailing.
So how do you feel about the third wave now that you've kind of gotten into, because I can see how you mean, like, listen, I'm much older than you. I got into it through the third wave, but I can also kind of see how that can kind of be a draw or a deterrent to kids now finding emo music, right? And emo music, and I've said this on the podcast before, has just gotten so much better over time. And the newer bands that are doing it better, not bigger, because MTV doesn't exist and much music doesn't exist anymore. But I still think that the newer bands are doing it bigger and better than the bands back then, as much as I still love those bands. So did you sort of work your way back, or are you just kind of like, no, I'm going to stick with fourth and fifth wave and not really into it?
It was funny. Like I, at first was like, I hate the third wave at first. Like, so I was like, everyone, like, I'm trying to like tell people about these cool, like indie, emo bands I like. And when I say the word emo, people just think of like, like a swoop and like these super, maybe over dramatic lyrics, where for me, like what I loved about modern baseball and stuff was that it felt so real to me, being like 16 at the time. And then as I've gotten more into that stuff, I have slowly worked my way back. And I'm like, you know what? First Fall Out Boy record, probably going to be the top of my Wrapped this year. First Taking Back Sunday this year was huge for me as well. Yeah, so kind of, I think, working back slowly, but definitely still very much like, and the stuff before that, I think, is kind of what the band agrees upon most. Like
the 90s.
Taking Back Sunday, The Promise Ring, Braid, like that's like Mineral, like that's like the real
Sunny Day Real Estate, like all of those. Yeah. The third wave is just sort of like on its own. Like there was sort of that, I guess, departure and pull, like it's a really weird, I guess, wave of emo that's kind of separate from the rest of it, but at the same time it's kind of cool that you kind of made your way back into it, because for me personally, I know that I sort of missed that fourth wave while it was happening, and then I had to go back and I was like, holy shit, I was sleeping on this the whole time. Like I was sleeping on modern baseball, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like it's crazy. Where did the name Customer Service come from?
The name Modern Baseball, Mom Jeans, like all those band names are just like kind of a random thing. They sound kind of shitty and they don't relate to the music at all. And me and Max were working together on a customer service desk at a Canadian Tire, and we're just like, oh well, those two words kind of sound like the same vibe as all the bands we like. And neither of us were like super stoked on the band name at the time, and like it was just kind of like like I guess this is this is it now. The band was called Rug before that. Rug with an umlaut over the U, like Motley Crue.
I love that. I love that it started out from Canadian Tire. How Canadian? I worked there for a few years too.
Yeah.
No, but maybe if we were living in the same part of the country, we could have been working there together at some point.
Honestly.
Tell me about your new EP, If You're Here, You Must Be Fine.
It's a bit of like a departure in a lot of ways, but I think it's like very much like in line with everything we've done up until now with the other two EPs. But it feels like a departure in the way that that influence that Owen's talking about, like that 90s stuff, is like way more present in this. And even if it's just like tone wise, like I think like we're way more focused on like the guitars not being like that first EP. It was like we really did not know what we were doing when it came to recording, and it was like a blessing to have our producer that we still work with, Owen Williams. It's like you'd show up and he'd be like, here are the guitar tones I picked out, and you'd be like, oh, hey, these sound great. And then that was like, you're like, cool. And it just worked. But then for this one, it was a lot of time spent on like picking out guitar tones and picking out like what head and what cab we're going to use and which pedals we're going to use. I think like all of that translated into like, I don't know, I think the song structure's always kind of been in maybe that 90s vein, but it feels like it's way more, the sound is there because of that's what we were listening to, and now we're trying to kind of Like that's just like the sound that we like. So the sound that we're picking out is like a lot more in line with that. And Owen was talking about earlier too, like a big one of like the biggest differences is like not every song is just about a breakup anymore. It's like we're all just kind of like writing about like, you know, it's like about like identity, and it's about like friendships drifting away too, and like just like personal growth and kind of the cost of it a little bit in like your social life. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it's like a lot more personal than maybe just like a kind of like the blanket breakup song record.
It's nice too. Like it's our first. I like love our first record for that first EP so much, but it is like, you know, put that out and it's like everyone who came to a show and stuff is like, I can tell you guys love Mom Jeans, which is it's like, and I feel like so many bands on their first things, you have a harder time. Like, you know, you've got like, I feel like a lot of people have to like make an EP or make a record to like figure out, oh, I would actually want to do this, this, and this differently for it to be more myself. And this definitely feels like the first record where it feels like us, and it feels a bit more like original in like the scene of, you know, current emo maybe compared to like our prior stuff, which feels very like love those songs, but definitely feels a bit more like just derivative of what we liked. Maybe derivative's the wrong word. That makes it sound like a bad.
No, that's cool. That's cool. You should diss what we've done before. Oh, you like those records? Like, oh,
wait till you hear this
one. The title of the EP, If You're Here, You Must Be Fine, kind of seems like a way that maybe people could be like dismissive of maybe mental health issues, you know, like you're fine. At least that's what I get when I read that title. Like, if you're here, you must be fine.
That's kind of the context that it was taken from. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you're gonna,
that's kind of what I was going to ask. Yeah, so go.
Yeah, it so I can tell like the whole. I'll try to make it quicker this time. But basically, like the first record, we were watching Succession. They said "Live More Forever" at one point in it, and we were like, "That's hilarious. We should that like the record name." That's just like it just felt like that's it. And then when the second record was coming out, we kept like toying with ideas, but like nothing was really sticking. And we were like, oh, maybe it'd be kind of cool if the EPs kept that theme of like, because we all watch like this is our house, we all live here together. And we were like, oh, what if we just like keep that theme of like the EP is named after like a quote from what we're watching at the time. And so we watched Attack on Titan during the second EP, and it ended up being like the first episode. The title of the first episode is "To You After 2,000 Years." And so we were like, that's sick. Let's use that. And then this one came around and like we weren't really watching much. And then right before a tour, I had watched the second season of Rehearsal because it just came out, like Nathan Fielder's show, another Canadian icon. Mm-hmm. And I was like, guys, like I just watched this, but I don't even care. Like I will watch it again. We need to watch this together because like it blew me away.
There's one line in there that I want to name the EP.
I had no ulterior motive. I didn't know. I actually was like, guys, maybe keep your ear to the ground if there's like a good line that comes out. The whole time. I'm just like, this episode's called Star Potential. Would that be funny? We're like, what if people don't think that's a joke? And then we're like, we have star potential. Like it's like stuff like that. We were worried about it, but we wanted to do it this way. And we considered doing like our own thing, like not just stealing a name, but we were like, maybe, if something comes that's like good, then we don't have to like be really nervous about giving it a bad name. But the last line in the second season of The Rehearsal is, "If you're here, you must be fine." And it very much is about like mental health and like, if like, it's like, oh, well, like I must be fine, so it's like that kind of thing. But I don't want to get into it too much because it's unreal and it's so worth watching. But it very much was in that vein. And I think that's why it resonated so much, because it's like, Nathan Fielder's hilarious, but like then out of nowhere, he kind of hits you with this, like, it's kind of gut wrenching a little bit. And it felt like kind of in the vein of what we make, which is like, we can make stuff that's like playful sounding. We can make stuff that's like funny. Like there's a good amount of jokes in our songs and stuff, because it's like funny to us. It's like nice for us to have that. But I think there's like also elements that are so real and so serious to us as well. And like putting those together, like those things don't have to be mutually exclusive like they are with so many artists, and like we kind of like playing in that gray area, and it felt like that title does that really well.
Are there any sort of themes that title sort of real, like within the EP, that title really sort of sticks with, that where you're kind of like, oh yeah, this is perfect because of this particular song or of this particular moment or this particular feeling?
I mean, yeah, totally. Like, I mean, it's some of the songs that can be hard to pinpoint, like what all of them are exactly about specific, like, because the way we write a lot of it is that like the lyrics will be written by multiple people. So it'll be like, one song could be like, this is about like, a friend I've not seen in a really long time. And like, like the outro of Never Meant To, and was the lead single. And it's kind of like the idea of like, I'll take, your heart ideas and whatever, take it with me wherever I go. And the verse is some more like, like romantic relationship, like feelings. But even like that sentiment too, it just like, whatever, even if we're drifting apart, like we're in this moment together and everything's okay. At least for me, that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, a lot of the songs are about like going through something, but it kind of being fine in the end. And yeah, they're not like all about like breakups and stuff, but like still like I would say like kind of like struggles, whether that's like relationships or like identity or different things like that. So I feel like it's a pretty fitting title.
Yeah, like the last track is like a lot of it is about like me feeling like I'm like a little bit too old to be coming to terms with it, but like my gender identity, came into question for myself in the last like year, really, or like last 2 years, and like that was a big thing for me because I think it's like a little bit of that element of like, if you're here, you must be fine. It's like, okay, I'm in my mid-20s, like, well, if I'm here, I must be fine, and then it's like, but now you're questioning something, and you're like, damn, well, that's been like, it's a lot of years to have not like realized that was kind of what was going on, like that was the problem. And so I think like, yeah, I don't know, I think it like kind of resonates with each one and like to each of us in different ways because of like what Owen said. It's like every song is like written collaboratively. We all have different ideas of what the songs are about, what they mean to us, and like, but at the end of it all, it's like, it kind of is like the like, you've trucked along, you're okay kind of thing. And I don't know, it's a little bit less depressing when it's like, well, we all have each other, you know?
I think it's a good like almost like motto for the band too, because it's like no matter how terrible anything is, like when we're on tour, when we're on stage, it's like the greatest feeling in the world. Like I could have the worst week ever, and when I'm on stage, I'm genuinely fine, like no matter what,
Yeah,
I love that. And one of the things that I love the most about emo music in general is I find that like, for a genre that is known for being so emotionally gut wrenching, and like you listen to the songs from any of the bands that you mentioned, from your songs, from whatever, like there's just so much heart and gut wrenching emotion in them. But then yet there's this side of emo music that also has this sort of sense of humor to it. And I love the sense of humor to it. I think a lot of new bands lean into it a lot more than some older bands did. But, even looking at the track list of your EP, The Sun looks awesome. You should look directly at it. Like where did that come from? And mostly what I want to know is how do you mix in that humor with the emotional gut wrenching portion of your songwriting?
That song was the working title of that one was Stretch Armstrong, and it was written after we have a fifth roommate. So Max is our fourth. He's not here. I don't know if that was already mentioned, but we have a fifth roommate. His name is Dante, and he lives in the attic. And he wrote this smut novel one time, like this short smut. And the lead character was named Stretch Armstrong. And then when I like bought a Telecaster and was like, I was like really convinced that it was like, oh, I'm gonna write a song on this. And so I just started like, I was like sitting on this couch, just like messing around with like weirder chords, I guess, and then kind of like wrote the chord progression for that song, but they're really like stretched out. And I was like, oh, it'd be really nice if Max could, because Max plays most of the lead parts, and I trust him to do a much better job than what I can do. And so I was like, Max, can you learn this? Because I don't know if I can. And then he couldn't, because it's just like it's really stretched out. So we were calling it Stretch Armstrong because and then it was like, I don't know, we just kind of got in the whole like we love a long title, like I vaped again last night and I killed to be in love. Like we love that, but it's like it takes a lot for people to be like, oh, that's I vaped again last night and I killed to be in love. So we're like, well, maybe we can figure out a title for this one that's like semi relevant to the lyrics, I guess. And so that one was just kind of like a joke that we made about looking into sunlight, because that's like one of the lyrics is I could look directly into sunlight. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if that answers the question that much at all, to be so for real. But
it answers where the name of the song, I guess, came from.
For putting like more playful things with like sadder, more serious stuff, I think sometimes it is almost even like a bit of a kind of like a defense mechanism where it's like this, like these lyrics are super personal and like sad, but like if someone who doesn't understand this genre of music, who I know from like work or something, like looks up the track list, they're just going to be like, oh, this is funny.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good defense. I think like another thing too is like we've talked about how like the kind of stuff that people write about in emo music feels like it's like when it's not like you're writing about a breakup that happened a year ago. It's like you're writing about a breakup that happened like 2 hours ago. Like it's like you're writing in like the peak of your emotion. And if you've waited a year to start reflecting on a breakup, you're probably going to be like, damn, I was so emotional. Like that is like the peak of your emotions is right after something happens. And I kind of like when we try to lock into like writing from that moment in time's perspective, but like with the reflective, like the knowledge that you'll be able to reflect at some point, because then it's like you're writing and you're so down bad, but you know that at some point you're not going to be nearly as down bad about it, and you can be more like grounded, and that's when you can joke about it. So you're kind of like, I need to be as down bad as possible, knowing that I'll be able to joke about it at some point. And I think he just wants those things, and I think that's like kind of how we do it every time. You know, that's not to say that we can't, like when we are down bad, we're down bad. You know, it's like we're not able to just joke about it in the moment, but like we know that when we're writing the song, we'll be able to joke soon.
That's great. And I feel like, yeah, like also adding that sense of humor and knowing that you're going to get over it. And once again, you guys kind of mentioned there as well that you don't have to really justify it. You don't have to have the family and the friends come and be like, dude, are you okay? Do you ever get that? Do you get people coming up to you after hearing your songs, and like that people that you know that don't like the music and haven't grown up in it, and be like, yo, what the hell?
I think the funny thing works. I think it's a great defense mechanism.
Yeah, we got them all fooled.
I've never gotten that.
My mom's ever asked like are you okay? But she'll just like ask questions about like my love life, sometimes based off the lyrics, or like be like, what does this mean? And she's really good at doing it too. And we have like people over for dinner when I'm over, like Thanksgiving, had some
all right, let's unpack your trauma that you wrote about.
Inquiring about some of the lyrics, and I was like, Mom, like, stop.
You're like, oh, that I didn't write that part. Yeah. I didn't. That wasn't even me.
That wasn't me. That was this is Max. Just blame it on him. He's not here.
I know, Max is going through it. Yeah, talk to Max.
Well, you guys actually mentioned it. Max lives in the attic, but you guys live together. You're touring, writing music, living together. What's that actually like?
It's awesome.
Not being able to get away from your coworkers.
It's awesome.
It's the best. I mean,
it's a good job.
It's a great job. Benefits are amazing. You get to live here.
Pay sucks.
Pay sucks. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like we never really like get sick of each other, and it's like, I don't know. We just like hanging out all the time.
We have practice room in the basement, so we just hop down there to practice, which is so nice. Like opposed to going to a jam space or something. Just lets you do stuff a lot more spontaneously, which is great for coming up with ideas. And
when we first moved in, it was definitely like a little bit more like, I think if we like lived how we lived when we first moved in, it would have been like we'd burn out. But it's like, not to say that wasn't awesome, like it was great, but it was just like we're so much better at it's like, you know, there can be like, oh, like weeks at a time where it's like, you know, oh, I spent a lot more time in my bedroom in the last 3 weeks. And everybody just kind of gets it. Like people, you know, when we have practice, be like, "Yeah, is everything good?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, no, everything's good." But it's just sometimes you need that like personal space. And
I was going to say, like, do you burn out in a sense of like having one person? Maybe it's just like, I'm not feeling it today, guys. Like, I had a shit day and everyone else wants to go write a song, head down to the basement. But it's just like, I don't want to do it. Like, does that ever come up?
I think if anybody has a bad, I think that's kind of the beauty of the genre is like if anybody has a bad day, it's kind of the cure a little bit. Like it's like maybe like the motivation isn't as there, but I think it's like I don't know. I think there's an element of it, but it doesn't lead to a burnout at all. But there's like an element of like, oh, I'm not in the mood so much today. But then it's like, yeah, but then I'm also gonna have to see them later anyway, and it's like, well, like this is like the best way to hang out, and so it's like I'm gonna have to see them at some point, like. If they want to jam today, like, or they want to like practice today, like that's, I'll go down and then it's normally lovely.
Yeah.
You guys have done over 100 shows in a year, which, that's pretty impressive. That's a grind. What's the most memorable moment of doing all those shows?
The EP release shows, big hometown shows are always the best. It's just like so nice to be like, surrounded by like all of our friends and like the hometown crowd all coming out. And like, that's when like everyone like really like, okay, everyone in the room knows every word to every song. And it just feels awesome. It's like a little like, sneak preview at like what being a huge band is. I imagine where you get that every night. But at least for us now, it's like, we have good shows in like Toronto and Ottawa and like around the country, but in Halifax, it really is like amazing. Those record release shows have been like unbelievable, and those are probably some of the best nights of my life, let alone of the band.
You also just see so many people that you have like these funny parasocial relationships with. You're like, I see you from like liking the occasional story, and I'm like familiar because I'm like, oh, you're like from Halifax, or like I've seen you at this show, but like we never talked or whatever, and then like. But you just kind of like see everybody together. It's like, oh, there's these people that I know from shows. There's these people I know from Instagram. There's these people I know because they're my best friends. And it's like a room full of them all together. And it's just like the fact that this group came together because of like the fact that we're going to play some songs is like, I don't know. It's like it's really touching.
Well, that was really awesome. The stuff that sticks in my mind is like the van breaking down and thinking like just stuck in the rain.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of that and mixing the good with the bad. For the people that haven't heard of customer service, what do you want them to know about customer service?
We're really nice. And throw us a bone,
Yeah.
I definitely think that the American listeners of the show will just assume that being from Canada and, a majority of the people that I talk to and the people that listen to the show that reach out to me are from the States. They're like, you're so nice. Canadians.
Yeah, we hold the door.
Yeah, we hold the door. Oh my God. When I go down to the States and you hold the door and someone just like doesn't say thank you, I'm like, what? Why did I waste my time doing that? This feels weird here.
Now you're in line in front of me.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I want to talk about as well, the EP drops on Halloween. Was that intentional or was that just a coincidence?
It was like kind of intentional. Like the label gave us a few possible release dates around, like they have, other releases to juggle in the fall. And Halloween was just one of them that was open. The record is not a Halloween record at all. But the
cover is orange and black.
Cover is orange and black though. But we did our last EP came out on Valentine's Day, which is a similar situation. We said it was like the Friday that was available in the time period we wanted to release. And we had a couple dates that it could have been like in November. And we were just like, oh, 2 EPs this year, both of them on holidays that the record is not themed around or related to at all. That's great.
Yeah. Valentine's felt pretty good.
Valentine's.
So you've released 2 EPs this year. Why not wait and make it a record?
I think like what we've talked about a lot with the band is kind of the idea of like building your. Actually the lead singer of Military Gun, I've heard him talk about this in interviews because they did a bunch of EPs and then that first record. And what he would say about it was the kind of idea of like, you're building like your runway for the plane to take off, that plane being the album. And it kind of felt like it wasn't the time yet to build an album, or like there wasn't like enough momentum that would like push the album to go where we want it to.
Okay.
So I think it was kind of the plan was kind of like do the 2 EPs, tour till, we eventually hate each other. And hopefully then be in a good position to put out the album and implode.
Yeah, the other element to EPs that is really nice as well is getting to try out like kind of like 3 different like styles and like different recording techniques and different like people to mix and master and stuff like that. And I would definitely say like this most recent one is the one we're like all the most proud of, and I think it's the best in a lot of ways, but we definitely learned a lot from trying different iterations, and so that'll just make the album that much better, hopefully.
Yeah, so you've put these out, build that foundation, and then kind of once you, I guess, figured out the full identity of customer service, release that first EP or LP. What's next after this release then? Do you have like a plan beyond this EP for that?
So like we're doing our first, like finally we had to cancel like 25 shows in the States this August, but our visa finally cleared. So we're going on our first tour of the States. We're leaving in like a week actually, which is crazy. And then after that, it's kind of just going to be, from there, just go, play America as much as we can. We'd love to try and get over to Europe, like do a self-booked tour over there, keep touring Canada a lot. And then I think the plan is like this in the new year, like start putting together the record and hopefully have that out in like early 27. I don't know.
Probably. I think, the idea is like kind of like, the EP thing was like do the EPs, and then now that we feel like we sort of have our identity a little bit more established and we have like a bit more of like an online following, maybe a little bit more established than we would have otherwise. It's like tour it like an album, basically, 3 EPs, tour them like an album, and then do that for a while. Like, I guess, probably the next like year and a half, like year and a bit. And then, 27, hopefully there'll be an album that comes out that year. But it'll be weird though, like this year doing the 2 EPs and then a year of no releases. It'll feel like,
and we might end up getting a single out or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows? But I think it'll be kind of nice too. I think we did 3 EPs in the span of like a year and a half.
It's pretty good.
We've been efficient. We've deserved a break from releasing and just focusing on playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the full footing. You've put out a good chunk of music, and now get that full footing and build up that fan base even more from touring and drop that album. I mean, it sounds like a solid plan. What do you want people to know about customer service that are just finding you now, maybe even from this podcast?
We have the most fun ever. Our motto from the very start was always like, if anyone else in the room is having more fun than us at our shows, we're doing something wrong. And I don't think we've been beaten yet. And I would like to put the challenge out. Come to a show, try and have more fun than us. You won't.
You won't.
You won't.
I love that.
Yeah.
Come to our show challenge.
Come to our show challenge. This is how we're going to go get really big. We're going to go viral with the hashtag
$50 if you have more fun than me.
Yeah. Get a fun barometer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're here, you must be fine. Comes out October 31st, which if you're listening or watching this on YouTube, then it's already out. Go and check it out now. One thing that we do here at the end of the show, because OurSpace was built off of, it's a little play on the words of MySpace, where people discovered new music, talked about their favorite bands, and it was all centered around that. And the scene grew really, really big throughout that era. So I want to continue to grow the scene by shouting out some other bands that deserve that love. So if you want to name any underrated bands or artists that you're listening to right now, give them a shout out. We can do that right now.
Earth Moon Transit. It's a Halifax band, and it's like a group of young people that go to like every show and are just like so full of joy at every show and make music that feels just like how that feels.
Swimming from Newfoundland. We had the pleasure of doing some touring with them recently. They're also nice and like to have fun. They're great.
I was Botfly, hardcore kind of like noise band from Halifax. They've been around for like almost probably 11, 12 years, but they're like probably their record Lower Than Love is maybe one of the best things that's came out of Halifax post pandemic. And they're like the sweetest people ever. They helped us book our first tours. They like taught us about DIY touring, and they're phenomenal people and definitely deserve all of the love in the world.
Guys, thank you so much for doing this. And if you're watching or listening, just a reminder, subscribe on YouTube and spread the word. Share it with your friends, your family members, anyone that's into emo music. It goes a long way, especially by rating and reviewing the show on Apple, Spotify, and also getting the word out there about these bands that we're talking to. Like I mentioned, the spirit of the show is to grow the scene, to discover new bands. Might discover your next favorite band here. Customer service might be your next favorite band. So remember to share the love and go and check out customer service. Thank you so much again to each of you for doing this with me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you, seriously.
Thank you for listening to OurSpace with Matt Vettese. If you enjoyed yourself, please support the show by subscribing and leaving a review.